Hi, I'm Mehrnoush Karimian. Welcome to ZirZameen, a show that focuses on the lives of unconventional artists and activists that have made an impact on their communities through their work. They may seem like outcasts, rebels, or even troublemakers, but they're artists, activists, and individuals that have started out as unknown, unseen, and underground. Our first episode begins in Montreal, Canada, where a group of artists from Tunisia and Algeria tells how they began their work, how the Arab Spring inspired them, and what they're doing now to bring their communities together. Karim Jabbari grew up in Tunisia during the Ben Ali regime, and while he endured a lot of hardships, he used calligraphy to connect to people. Armed with a camera and a flashlight, Karim takes us through the night to show us how he hopes his art will enlighten the youth of today.
My name is Karim Jabbari. I'm 34 years old from Tunisia. I do light calligraphy, which is a discipline based on taking photos and drawing with the light. I love this discipline. It gives me a lot of freedom and allows me to paint where nobody is allowed to paint. You're invited into my world and take a look into my night missions. It's given my art another dimension since it's making it closer to a lot of public which usually doesn't have the time to go and read or to go and look for art. So like calligraphy, you have some nice photos, beautifully done with the message you want to put into it. When I was young, me and my family passed through like very hard times. My father was in jail for almost 13 years.
Hein? Non, ça c'est pour le père.
Ça commence à prendre forme.
C'est dédié au père.
My father was a political opponent and he was in the opposition. He was really oppressed big time by the Ben Ali regime, the regime that was taken out of its place like in the last revolution. For our family, it was very, very hard, and we were kind of isolated from the exterior world, like nobody wanted to come in touch with us. We became like a potential danger. It's really hard to go and walk into the streets and nobody talks to you. Very hard to swallow. When I was in school, calligraphy actually brought people around me. I had nice writing and I used to practice calligraphy, and this is some of the ways I get in touch with people and people come around me, and I feel like I have a social life. I remember like my friend, they would bring me their books and I started putting some nice calligraphies on it. And I feel like alive again. I feel like I exist. I feel like I had an importance. And this is why I'm so thankful for this discipline, and this is why I don't want to drop it. I want to keep developing it and present it to others. I want to make it the simplest possible, the closest possible to people, so people that get attached into that art, which is really magnificent. They get attached to the Arabic language, which is a magnificent language, one of the hardest and one of the most complicated language in this world. Clarify the taboos they have inside their heads about Arab, Muslims and whatever. I didn't have a normal childhood like the other kids, and this is what makes me more determined actually to persevere in life. Alhamdulillah, my father was released out of jail in 2004, and my father now is like belongs to the party which governs the country. So you see how times they change fast and how the situations don't last forever. The last project I'm working on with my light calligraphy is called The Second Nature of Things. And everything that I see that attracts my attention, which is automatically the things that attract the attention of others, I come and I put a nice light calligraphy on it. I make that thing last forever, probably an installation that is there for a month or two or a year or two, and after it's going to disappear. But for me, I make it alive forever. I wanted to talk actually about my country, Tunisia. To build the country again after the revolution, you need these people, these kids, this younger generation to have confidence in themselves that they can achieve something. I hope now that my art and the other artists will contribute into that, and we have a big role to play. This is what I'm focusing on right now, is like try to play a role into changing things for the better in Tunisia.
When the word graffiti comes up, Arabic calligraphy is not what most people think of. But El Cid, a calligraffiti artist of Tunisian descent, is working to change the public's perception of Arabic calligraphy through graffiti.
I am El Cid. I do calligraphy. It's a mix of Arabic calligraphy and graffiti. I started graffiti in the late 90s in Paris, where I grew up. I started learning Arabic in 2000, and then around 2004 I discovered Arabic calligraphy. I came to North America, and this is where I started developing my own style, where I mixed Arabic script with graffiti. Graffiti takes its roots from hip-hop, and the roots of hip-hop is to bring social change, and elevate people as well. That's the point of graffiti today. I try to get that into my work, like having this part of social change and how art and culture can change people and change the way of thinking. I think I never learned how to do calligraphy. I didn't take classes. If you take the proper Arabic calligrapher definition, I'm not a calligrapher, because I don't respect any rules of the classical Arabic calligraphy. There's so many contradictory aspects of what I do. Like being an artist and a Muslim, some people think that you cannot, and bring Arabic and graffiti together, and that's the funny thing, when you listen to people, it looks like there is a big lack of education on the subject, and we need to educate them on that, I think. I was asked to go paint to a small village close to Disneyland in Paris. The city gave some authorization to this organization to have all the wall of the city to be painted. Some resident of the city, they said, okay, you can paint on my house as well. And when the guy saw that I was painting in Arabic, he was like, oh, come on, don't do that, stop that, I don't want that in my wall. And he started cursing and saying some bad words. And so 2 weeks later, I came back to Paris. They said there is a wall from the city just in front of the house of the guy. And I said, okay, I'm gonna write something different. And I was going to say, on your face, ala wajhak. And then I said, let's be more mature than this guy. So I'll write aftah qalbak, means open your heart. During Ramadan, I went to my home city, Gabes in Tunisia, and I was looking for a wall, and the organization I was working with found, that the minaret of Gabes was not painted, and actually it was like that since '94. I tried to make my work relevant to the place where I paint, so I tried to write some Quranic verse on it, and I picked a verse from Surah Al-Hujurat who said, "Oh, you mankind, we have created you from a male and a female and made you people and tribes so you may know each other." So the point actually was to inspire people to come back together. I hope now people will make a step toward each other. This one actually it says, we don't write what we want, but what we can. It's just a reflection on what's going on now around the world after the movie Innocence of Muslim and the caricature that they made in France as well. People can perceive it in two different ways. So we always conditioned by a kind of political, social, economical pressure above us that don't allow us to say whatever we want. At the same time, we cannot say whatever we want if our goal is just to provoke people, It would be more interesting to ask people about their thought by trying to create a dialogue, unless coming with some made-up ideas. I don't represent anybody, I just speak for myself. I don't work for a political agenda, I'm independent, so I just do what I feel is right. it's a need maybe, and even a duty maybe, to show that Arab and Muslim in general, we have like culture, we have art, and we can push ourselves into that, you know, and it's kind of breaking all the stereotypes that you have on the mainstream media. It motivates me in a way, but that's not the only motivation, you know. I just do it because I like it, that's it. I mean, I love it. And that's the point of coming here, painting a wall that nobody gonna see in real. Maybe this wall, like tomorrow, will be like crossed by somebody else. So I think the answer is here.
Our last profile is about a female hip-hop artist and singer who fled her native Algeria to escape violence and poverty. Meryem Saci has used her music to tell a story on TV, in the courtroom, and now through her group Nomadic Massive.
Flip it like a stick on the pen. You got beef, I break peace with a mic in my hand. Wise a man got plans to rip out the past and slash chest against.
My name is Meryem Saci. I am from Algeria, and I am a singer, songwriter, MC.
Complete a circus like the yin and the yang. Cause I act like a woman, but I think like a man.
My mom used to tell me I used to sing myself to sleep. We moved to Canada when I was 14 in the mid of the year 2000. My mother and I had to leave the country. I grew up when the Civil War broke out in Algeria. I mean, the violent part of the Civil War started in '92, and it only got worse as it went along in terms of the violence, and especially towards women. The reality for women was more and more hard to live with.
Word to my mother, the heart is the land, the one place a nomad can be.
The mixture of poverty, natural catastrophes, and the war put together on a single mother alone. She pushed everything she thought I was good at, from school to music. And as soon as I was making a little move anywhere, we were getting somebody on the side to threaten us to stop that. If she wanted me to have a future in music, she also wanted me to have a future, period, and not die in the country. I used to go to this conservatory. The director was a songwriter as well, and he wrote a song for peace at the time to speak about the reality we were living in and telling the people not to lose hope. And so he chose me to be the lead singer, and we had a little choir of 7, 8-year-olds. I think I was 12 at the time. And we performed it, and it passed on national TV. We had to forge documents and take fake passports that led us to finally get to Canada. When you come here illegally, you pretty much have no status. You can't work, you can't go to school, you can't do anything. So when we got to court, they had to make me sing in court to prove that I do sing, and that the song that I sang about actually was talking about peace and denouncing a bit the reality we were living. And it was asked for me to sing from the judge to see if I was a singer, but it's actually the prosecutor, who was Lebanese, that insisted, because she's like, oh yeah? Oh, you sing? Okay, so what was the song about? So I had to tell her, she's like, well, I understand Arabic, sing. But I guess it straight went through the heart of the judge, and he accepted us right on the spot. I am a singer that loves soul, R&B, and blues. That's where my heart is. However, when I got to Canada, I definitely fell in love with hip-hop. It spoke to me and it educated me. That's how I learned English. At the end of the day, that's really why I speak English today, and I write in English and I can rap in English. Ever since I was small, I always felt like I had a dream to be the voice of the voiceless. I always said, if I make it, or if somehow I'm ever free, you know, I want to be able to be given a voice to those that are not being heard. Hip-hop did that for me. Hip-hop spoke about realities that were extremely difficult and controversial and sad, but made it almost sound like a celebration. I really gravitated towards that. The first time I came back to Algeria was right when the Arab Spring started. So I was in the country when all the riots started, because it started in Algeria and Tunisia. They were back to back. And I couldn't believe that the first time I'm back in the country since I left the civil war is back to riots and it's back to madness. And it didn't pick up in Algeria the way it did in Tunisia and Egypt and Libya because we had had that revolution as well. But it had sparked the same intention. So my connection with the Arab Spring was right at the root of it. I was very blessed to have the opportunity to leave so that I can grow up and have a future and do what I want to do today. But it breaks my heart that I had to leave as well because I love my people. My country is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And it was really sad that I only discovered my country recently because growing up, it was the Civil War. We couldn't go out to parks, we couldn't go out to anything. I mean, that disconnect really affects you and it makes you lost. And you to try and adapt yourself to a new society, to new norms, and that's allowing you to have the freedom you've been seeking for, but it's not your home, you know? It's not home, you don't know anything, you don't know anybody, you're learning everything from scratch. It's cold, the weather and the people, you know? So you feel really like a sense of abandonment. So when I went back to my country, I felt like I connected the pieces back together. And I remembered who I was, you know? So I left young, but 14 years was enough for me to have a very strong connection with my culture and everything. So I wish I could have stayed there and blossomed there, but I couldn't. That's sad.
Life is so crazy, and love is unkind. 'Cause she came first, darling. Will she hang on your mind?
So to go back brought all of that back to me, but at the same time, it empowered me to know that, gee, we made it, you know, we made it. And now I have the freedom to come back and appreciate it for its good side. I can only pray that the population of my country could have what it deserves eventually. And that, you know, the poverty level, the corruption, and all of that could eventually be replaced by a new generation of go-getters, a new generation of very enlightened and educated, intelligent youth that are going to bring the country to the potential that it could be.
And this was our first episode. Thanks for watching and tune in next week for more of ZirZameen.
Should I say something? Hold the fish. No.
You look like a Jedi.
Yeah, I know. I want something that gives you like all directions.
I feel you, I know.